Hello.
Hey, Lindsay, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How was that for you? How was the panel?
It was good. It was good, I think.
I
Excited for the breakout and get
yeah,
deeper.
absolutely. I saw Matt's comment just saying like I love how everyone's speaking the same messaging. It does really feel like that, doesn't it? Like the whole day, everyone, all partners have kind of been on the same wavelength, which is really good to see.
Yeah.
And Chris, who did this speech at the beginning, obviously kind of outlaid everything, and it seems
Yeah.
that everyone's feeling the same
Yeah.
thing, which is great.
I think it just goes to show the power of partnerships. And, if we're all on the same page and we're all helping our merchants together and, enforcing the same message,
Yeah.
it's great to see that.
Absolutely. And in terms of what you just discussed there, like obviously I really liked your piece about the Abercrombie and Fitch. Like I had no idea that they'd done this rebrand, but it seems really smart. Like obviously they were a big brand back when
Yeah.
people like you or I were, around that age. And
Yep.
actually, I think it's really smart of them to kind of go the route they have done.
Yeah.
Really
It's,
good to see
I
people
mean, it's still
reimagining.
definitely like a younger generation still loves their stuff, but
Mm,
they've totally, like, I've bought stuff from them and I've been like, oh, this is great for my next work dinner, which who would have ever thought, considering, it used to be Abercrombie and the moose slathered across everything. But I
yeah,
will say
yeah.
they've not gotten rid of Fierce. Like that, they still have that all over their website.
I
And
actually used
that's
to
the
have
other
that.
reason. I'm sure everyone, I used to be able to smell it out. So that you still have it there. And I'm like, that's so smart of them to not get rid of it again for the nostalgia. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it brings people's memories back to it.
yeah.
And so what we're going to do for the breakout, just to kind of give a bit of
Mhm.
context for everyone watching or listening, we're just going to kind of focus on some of the points that we've been just discussing in the panel previously. I've got some specific questions for Lindsay, but we would love to hear from you guys as well. So anyone wants to reach out and ask anything specific, or just want to know a bit more about loyalty and Okendo specifically, so feel free to. But what we're going to start off with is a kind of just a little kind of opener, I suppose. So it's all around the emotional connection. Obviously, we've just kind of covered that in the panel. And obviously, anyone please jump in here if they know of, if they felt like a really strong emotional connection with their customers already. But for now, Lindsay, it'd be great to hear from you, like
Yeah.
any particular examples of any clients or customers you're working with who have kind of really established that emotional connection.
Yeah. So we work with a brand called Booty. They're a sustainable um, clothing line. So I
Mm,
believe that all of their clothes are made from some sort of recycled bamboo and they use, all the parts of it. And their thing is simple clothing that you can wear again and again and again. It's not, fast fashion. So they're a really great brand. But I think the way that they emotionally connect, one, is on their entire like homepage. It's like, here is the impact we're making. So it's like
yeah,
the number of LED light bulbs you've saved by going this way, the number of non-pesticide land that we've been able to, put out there. So they're really showing the environmental impact, which is smart. And then, from a reviews and loyalty perspective, one, as they've been expanding internationally, because, again, as a sustainable clothing line, they're not flipping their inventory all the time. They're actually syndicating their reviews across um, international websites. So as they're going into a new market, they're actually pulling in the reviews, say from Australia into their US market, so that there are already reviews for the products there. And
yeah,
that's helped driving that sense of community, social proof, all of those things, with a new market that, cares about sustainability but isn't as familiar with the product. So I think that's been really impactful. And then even throughout their loyalty, I believe for the review, they're asking in exchange for the review, they're giving loyalty points, and they're just really emphasizing the whole thing. So I think their loyalty program is called like the Goodness Explorer, the Good Advocate. Like those are the different tiers.
yeah.
So I think they're doing a really great job of creating that emotional connection through the sustainability, and then building that community, especially as they're going into new markets internationally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sustainability piece is such a big one, isn't it? Like more and more of
Yep.
these businesses are rightly so focusing
Yep.
on that, and people agree with it. I think
Yep.
if you're looking from the review and loyalty perspective on this
Yep.
one as well, like customers, are kind of looking at that as a big
Mm-hmm.
piece, but even in their loyalty program, you can actually allow customers to use their points to give
Yep.
charitable means and things like that, and then probably a very nice review off the back of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that, Yeah, the review piece and the loyalty piece, it just plays so well together. And especially again in these communities where like there's sustainability, that you have a part of the community, having all these different parts of your tech stack working together for like one cohesive program. Because again, the reviews are going to create social proof that are going to help new customers, that are going to help existing customers as they want to try something new, going to make them feel part of something. Loyalty program encouraging the review, then you get to pay that back later on. It just goes to show, why it's so important to seamlessly integrate all of these programs and how that's going to help with the community building, with the loyalty, with, that long-term relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got to thank Shopify for being so seamless, don't
Yeah.
you? Really does us a lot of favors.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any thoughts on that? Please do feel free to reach out. I'm sure I haven't missed anything yet. Moving on. So this is one for everyone, of course, but just direct at you for now, Lindsay. In terms of like all the challenges we had last year, God knows there are a few of them. Like, how is that kind of what are those challenges, like fulfillment challenges and stuff like that? How has that changed customer relationships, do you think?
Yeah, I think, one of the things, again, just tying this back to reviews in particular, is that if you're not addressing those other things, and again, kind of bringing into like, you have one experience for the whole customer, and all of these pieces, if they aren't connected, are gonna, create a bad experience for a customer. But one thing in particular is like sometimes you'll get a bad review for something that had nothing to actually do with the product. So like, say you shipped it and it's makeup and the makeup came crushed, like you're gonna get a bad product review, even though that has nothing to do with the product, that has to do with the way you shipped it. Or if someone had a bad customer experience, like sometimes they will go on the reviews and talk about it, even though like it again has nothing to do with the product. So I think again that brings back the idea of like having all of your systems and your experiences integrated so that the data can seamlessly flow. So if you get, a bad review on Okendo, you can have it in your Gorgeous account, pull up saying like, hey, we flagged this, so that we can proactively respond and do those types of things. You say, we're so sorry you had that experience. And again, from a review standpoint, we encourage bad reviews. It's not necessarily bad, but not being afraid of them. Generally, we see conversion is the highest when a brand has, I think, 4.2 to 4.7 stars, because it feels more authentic. So I think it's just about like integrating again all of those systems so that if anything goes wrong in any of those touch points, you're gonna be kind of set and able to respond.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that question about the bad reviews, because I've actually had quite a few times like speaking to a brand and I say, do you have a reviews platform? They're like, oh no, our COO doesn't really like the idea of bad reviews. And I can see in a way where they're coming from, but actually it's not truthful, and having that trust with the customer is everything, isn't it? Sorry, go.
I think if you're scared of bad reviews, then like you probably aren't a customer centric company. I mean, like if you really care about your customers, you want to hear what they're saying, and it's the easiest way to create that two-way dialogue. So again, if I think I mentioned this in the breakout, but like if you're not like, if you don't have the product right, then you don't have the foundation for loyalty. So if you're not asking for that feedback about the product and trying to, you can't fix it. You can't be like, hey, we've gotten this amazing feedback from our reviews. Like thinking of it as a positive rather than a like, oh, this is going to hurt. And if you're proactively responding and showing that publicly and showing others that like, hey, this person had a bad experience, but we're responding to it and trying to fix it, that also helps with conversion as well. So
absolutely. And who's to say that the person who reviewed it badly then has an amazing experience and doesn't follow up with actually they're a really customer centric business. They've done everything they can to make me happy and I'll be a customer for life. You never know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Again, any thoughts on that, please feel to jump in. We don't bite. Come along. And another one, actually, this is actually one I'd love someone, one of the viewers to get involved in, give us some experiences of their own. But for now, let's say you just got a new client on board. They are an Okendo user, or maybe someone who's just heard of you but hasn't come on board yet, and they're really struggling to retain customers after a first purchase and then build their loyalty. Like, what can we do around that? Like, how they made their first purchase but they haven't really got any idea whether they're going to come back again or not. How could you, for example, come in there and help that?
Yeah. So I think that personalization aspect is key. And the
Hmm.
great part about Okendo reviews in particular is that we're also helping you collect that zero party data. So as a customer, it's really, or sorry, as a merchant, it's really, like I mentioned before, what data points do we want to collect about our customers to
Hmm.
help us create more personalized experiences? So we work with a brand, Born Primitive, for example. They are athleisure workout. They're asking their customers, like, what type of workouts do you do? Like, are you a
Hmm.
runner? Are you a weightlifter? Do you do yoga? All these things are actually relevant to the product, because if you're using it differently for different purposes, like it might work, depending on differently depending on the type of activity you're doing. But then you can also get, personalize them later if like they haven't come back for another purchase, but that they like yoga, like then you can send them another email being like, we know you like yoga, here's some great product recommendations that could help you. Or you could say like, if you're a weightlifter, like, hey, did you see this weightlifting championship going on? Like, what do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah,
So
yeah.
do all those opportunities to really engage with their customers in the future and bring them back in, and again, give them that personalized experience to further and bring them back in if like after they've made the first purchase they're not entirely sure.
Absolutely. And actually, this is just a bit of a random question, but it's more about the zero party data, which everyone's been
Yes.
talking about today. Like, in terms of Okendo, don't you have attributes or something like that? Is that what it's
Yes.
called?
Yep.
Yes.
So
How does that work?
yeah, so they're called attributes. So we have two types of attributes. There's product attributes, which you can do, like, again, going back to the Born Primitive example, like quality, fit, comfort. So
Hmm.
what are these? And they can, rank them on a sliding scale. So you can really collect that data. But then there's the customer attributes. And that's really, you have kind of full customization to ask whatever you want. So you can ask demographic data such as age, gender. Some things we've seen before, especially with apparel, is size typically worn versus size purchased. So
Hmm.
then you can see if you need to size up or size down. And then all of those, again, zero party data points that you want to ask about. So if you're a beauty brand, you might want to ask skin tone, blue, like eye color.
Hmm.
Um, we have some people asking, like, what are you using it for? Copper Cow coffee. It's like, how do you like your coffee? Is it iced, brewed, or
Uh,
both? So it's really anything. You have full customization to do any of that. And then we're pulling that data in. And then with our, integrations with email and SMS, you can, feed that data in and use it for segmentation. So that's how that works. But yeah, again, with the kind of, you have full kind of customization for what you want to be asking, which really opens up. And then another recommendation I'd have as well is to incentivize the reviews. So
mhm.
I think I mentioned this before. You can incentivize with them with loyalty points. You can, offer coupons, anything that's going to encourage more review generation, because it's kind of a cycle that feeds itself. Like the more reviews you
Yeah.
have, the more it helps conversion, but also helps people coming back because now you're creating a community. Now it can help me, with someone else. So it really helps kind of bring someone back full circle, and increase lifetime value of a customer.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's be honest, it's invaluable, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like it's everything nowadays, isn't it?
Yep.
And what was that point that Chris or John just made in the last one? It was about, like,
Mm-hmm.
again, relevancy. That's come up again and
Yep.
again today. Like that is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you're just sending the same stuff to every customer, they're not going to stay.
Yeah. 100%. It's personalization is, I think I said this before, it's expected now. So
Mm,
like that's the baseline. Like if you're sending the same thing and you're noticing that, like I'm gonna be like, okay. And especially, I mean, I'm biased as someone in e-commerce, but like I notice these things now and I'm like, really do better. Like, like we know you have this option, we know you do these systems, but
yeah.
yeah, I think that's huge. And now it's just doing it well. So doing it
Yes.
better. How do you make the most personalized experience? I think Chris said it before. How do you make them feel like there's a person behind there, that it's one to one, even if it is automated? They
Yeah.
shouldn't feel like it's automated. They should feel like they're really trying to connect with you, like based on your preferences, based on your
Mm.
purchase history, based on what you like.
Yeah, I've got to say, I actually feel the same. If I see an email or a text or something from a
Yep.
business, I'll look up their tech stack and see what they've
Yeah.
got. And if they've
Yep.
got all these tools and they're not sending me something personalized, I'm like, come on,
Yep.
what are you doing? What are you doing? It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey ho, they're learning slowly but surely. Um, and I'm just checking if anyone's said anything. Quite a lot today, aren't you? Anyone wants to jump in? No? Okay. No worries. We'll carry on. So another couple of questions for you that I just
Mhm.
written out. So one is, what are some of the best ways that you can utilize social proof through your digital marketing strategy? I know we've covered some, but any other pearls of wisdom?
Yeah, so there's so much. I mean, like I said, social proof really is it's so huge, and not just hearing from like what the brand has to say, because obviously like that's going to be biased. It's really, not only hearing what customers have to say, but seeing how it looks on them, seeing, how they're using it, what they're using it for, again, going to those attributes and being able to compare and filter by customers that are like you. All of that's really important. But in terms of using that social proof throughout your digital marketing strategy, um, obviously, like putting it on the homepage, so putting your reviews front and center, putting star ratings on category pages,
Hmm.
um, doing like reviews carousels or showcasing the UGC. We have
Nice.
an integration with 460, where like they're pulling in Instagram that like the brand is getting Instagram pictures and the brand's getting tagged on. And then
Hmm.
we're able to put the star ratings in that so that they can make it like a shoppable Instagram, but the reviews are
Oh,
in there
cool.
as well. So always showing that social proof. Um, Paid media does really, really well. So in terms of like Facebook ads or any other digital marketing ads, the more you can add the photos and UGC and even just the text of a review is
Mm.
so impactful in terms of the performance of those ads. You can do it, Facebook ads, Google Shopping as well. We have an integration with where you can pull the star ratings into your Google Shopping ads.
Yeah.
So all of that just again helps um, from that side, just constantly reinforcing that social proof. One thing I'll say that's great about Okendo is because the way we set up our terms and conditions,
Hmm.
anything that a customer is giving you in terms of UGC testimonials, all of that, you as a brand will own that. So you don't
Oh,
have to go
great.
back and ask them for permission. You could just use that. And another thing I'll also add to abandoned cart emails. That is a huge thing. We're putting that social proof and being like, you're almost there. Hear how
Yeah.
other customers really loved it. Like, don't forget. We see that being a really high performing way to use your reviews as well.
That would actually get me because
Yep.
I'm often just hovering over the cart and like, do I need it? Do I want to spend that
Yep.
money? And then you see someone like, this is the best thing ever. And then, all right, if I
Yep.
have to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Easily done. And another one for you. What can I do if a product doesn't have enough reviews? Can I push that at all?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about Booty and the way that they're able to syndicate. So again, if you're in different markets, you can syndicate your reviews um, across, different domains to make sure that those are all together.
Mhm.
Another thing you can do is grouping. So especially with product variants, where like you might have a red version of the shirt and a blue version of the shirt, or like these types of different versions, you can actually syndicate those reviews into one so that they're displaying, even though it's
Mhm.
not like the exact SKU. And that way, if it's similar enough, or you have enough like attributes and filters to be like, okay, this is the review for maybe the lighter version of this shirt versus like the heavier version or longer, anything like that, they're all still synced so that it doesn't look like, um, oh, this one only has one, this one has 20. How do I get more in there? So grouping is a really great way, especially if you have a really big product catalog, to make sure
Mm.
that you're consistently showing the reviews across all products.
Makes sense.
And then again, doing campaigns, doing, review request emails, automating that process, that's really going to help in the incentives that I talked about before, just to generally encourage review generation overall.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And actually, what I find astounding with all of these integrations with everyone is
Mm-hmm.
just how kind of it's just like next step is just kind of done for you. So let's
Yep.
say someone leaves a 5-star review. That's a great starter. Then you can set up like a post-purchase,
Mm-hmm.
post-review email flow saying,
Yep.
thank you for your review. Would you be happy to refer a friend? That person refers a
Mm-hmm.
friend. They come and make their first purchase. They love the product. They make a
Yep.
referral and they leave a review. It's just all self-fulfilling. And
Exactly.
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you have all the
Another
prompts
interesting
there.
thing that like Matt, I was thinking with Matt too, is I actually used to work at Order Group, so familiar with the subscription space as well. But like we used to say, like if someone left you a 5-star review, like ask them to subscribe. Like they obviously love
Yeah.
the product. If it's a replenishable product, that's the next step. So again, I think the power of the automation and the flows and the segmentation and making sure that like the data is seamlessly integrated throughout all of those different areas of your tech stack is
Mm.
so powerful, because you're really getting that centralized view of your customer. And I think with Matt also that said like get to know your customer. Like
Yeah.
You can only do that if your tech is really done correctly. But again, if it is done correctly and it's all automated, it is so powerful. And then you just have to use it and make sure you're
Absolutely.
using it the right way.
Yeah, yeah, the automation is the genius part because you
Hmm.
have these businesses. I'm sure some of our very, very
Yeah.
talkative listeners are finding like not all of them have really
Yeah.
big teams, right? So you can't be doing everything. You're humans, we
Right.
can't. But the automation piece is everything, isn't it? Like I find when I was speaking to someone like 5-person team, let's say,
Yeah.
they're like, I don't think we can do loyalty. I don't think we can do it this
Mhm.
time. But actually, if you can automate 90% of it, then it just takes it out of your hands, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. If you can automate it and even start small, like you don't have to collect everything at once. Like, I think sometimes brands get overwhelmed with like, let's do it all. Like you can crawl, walk, run to this stuff. You can start with loyalty, build a base, bring reviews. Okay, maybe start with this, like test and learn. Like
Mm,
there are so many things you can do, but like you said, the automation is really the key. So like that's kind of what you need to figure out first to make sure everything's working together. And then from
mm.
there, it's just, building upon it. And it, again, if it's automated, it will eventually just flow on its own, which is great.
Exactly, and I love the inventiveness of all the product
Mhm.
teams across all of our companies. Like you think they've done it all, and then they'll release a new feature, and
Yep.
it's like, how are you coming up with this stuff? Like Klaviyo's automations are amazing.
Mhm.
I know everything you told me today. I didn't know you could do so much. So it's really interesting to hear, and yeah, long may it continue, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the power of, you know, again, being customer centric technology platforms has really just
Hmm.
helped with the innovation, the partnerships, and the acknowledgement that we all know where the market's going and we're all aligned on what we need to do and making sure, our technologies work the best for our merchants. And I think that's, really powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we haven't got long left, but I just kind of wanted to circle back to the whole brand advocates piece because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of been the topic of the day, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. So like I think why we're all here today, or why a lot of people are here today, is
Mm-hmm.
to understand, what's out there apart from acquisition, right? Like
Right.
what can we focus on there? And the brand advocates is the end bit, isn't it? So like if you
Yep.
have everyone doing all these actions, then you've kind of hit the jackpot, I
Yep.
suppose. So do you have any particular kind of pearls of wisdom or anything that you kind of want to impart before we head off about the importance of a brand advocate or anything from what we discussed on the panel before?
Oh man, I mean, I think you said it. Like the brand advocates are the foundation of it all, and how you turn your customers into brand advocates is so important, again, especially with everything that's going on with privacy and um, data going away and shipping issues. It's, if you have those brand advocates that are loyal to you, then you can kind of get through some of those pieces that might be negative. So like you said before, like if you have a bad customer experience, you can actually turn a bad experience into a positive by fixing it. So again, like if someone leaves you a bad review and you're publicly responding to it and making it right and saying, we're so sorry that happened, email us, we'll fix it. You fix it right away. You offer them a discount or something to come back, a free gift, any of
Hmm.
that. If you make that easy, people will like forgive you as long as you're making it easy for them. So I just think it's those small things. And then again, just automating the review requests, making sure you're
Hmm.
getting as many of those brand advocates as possible to publicly advocate for you on, your site. One thing I didn't actually mention earlier is that with Okendo in particular in that zero party data,
Hmm.
if you wanted to collect some of it, but you wanted like a more streamlined um, review display. You also can choose which ones you can, display if you don't want to display any of them. So you have some of that flexibility there. But it's still definitely important, like I said, with the zero party data collection to make sure people understand why.
Yes.
So I think it's showing what's going to help the customers, but also what's going to help you make a more personalized experience for those customers later on. So it's a little
Yes.
bit about thinking like customer first.
Yeah. What do they want to
What
hear?
can we do?
Yeah.
What do they
Yeah.
want to hear? What's going to help them make a purchase decision? What's going to help them pick the right product for them, not
Hmm.
just like what I want them to buy, but looking at other people and being able to filter and search by what other people's experiences have been.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think being customer centric, thinking about them first, thinking about what they want,
Mm.
turning bad experiences into good, having everything flow seamlessly so they don't even realize that there are points of contention in your back end automating things. I think those are all really the key to, creating a good customer experience and getting some brand advocates.
Absolutely. That's very much. Thank you. We actually have a question.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Yay. Is there a way to get a high quality UGC without sounding too technical or overbearing?
Oh, in terms of high quality, that one I'm not sure about, but I would say, as much as you want high quality, again, it's about that authenticity. So like if I can actually see that this is real, um, that's going to encourage me more than if I feel like someone's doing like a staged Instagram product review post, because I know that this is someone's real experience. Like I mentioned before, the way to get UGC in general, incentives, tiered incentives in particular. So offering an even higher discount or more loyalty points for that photo in review. That's going to be important. Um, yeah, the high quality is tough, but I also think if you're, working with affiliates, you can also ask them, for a review again, if like that is within your agreements with them. And then using, again, like I mentioned, like our shoppable Instagrams, putting UGC or putting star ratings like within the UGC there that's generated. That way you can also pull in more of like those influencer images and display it that way, but still have that social proof and the star ratings associated with it.
Very useful. Thank you very much. Okay, Lindsay, I think that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for answering all those. I know that everyone listening would have found it very useful. If anyone wants to reach out to either of us, please do LinkedIn. You know what to do. But for now, everyone can head back to the main stage for the next Ask Me Anything session, which I'm sure will be very useful as well.
Great.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.